I'm Dr. Bob. Welcome back to the Better Brain Academy. So we're going to keep building on the information. The first several videos were addressing your brain span testing and your cell biomarkers. What that means is how healthy the cell is and how that allows the body to function like it's supposed to. Getting sugar in and out of the cells. Go back and look at those videos. There's a lot of information. You want to make sure that you have your brain span test when you're looking, because some of the factors that were specific for you, it will give you some information. So we're going to address on the cognitive function of the brain today. That means our ability to actually adapt to new situations. What it really comes down to is we want to preserve our brain. We want to use it in the appropriate way. And it really comes down to how we're thinking, how we're eating, how we are adjusting these changes in our body, and how we move our body. So this is the nutritional aspect. We're going to tie it into how that affects brain function. So your cognitive flexibility is ability to make new synapses, new connections, things like rewiring the brain. This thing called neuroplasticity. So there are certain factors for neuroplasticity that are important. In the cognitive function part of your brain span test, you want to look at what maybe some of the recommendations were. We try and address all those things here in the Better Brain Academy. So we'll be addressing three main things. That's our gut health, some of the nutrients that you might need to have for your brain transmitters, and also how meditation ties in with that. There's a lot of information here, so we're going to have some extra videos on each one of those that you'll be receiving also. So like I said, we're taking this big information and we're actually just getting it smaller and then having little subsets of videos to give you more information. We want to make it simple. We want to make it easy. Make sure that you're still keeping track of your nutrition. Out of sight, out of mind. The more that you want to make healthy habits, especially over a 3-day process initially, assessing where you're at, and then over a week-long process. If you do that for 21 days, that's how you create a new habit pattern. So we want to create new healthy habits. So if you look at your brain span testing, it says make sure you are working on all the cell biomarkers. Some of the things we've talked about already, starting to make some changes in your nutrition. Now, the cognitive flexibility has a lot to do with our brainwave patterns also. You'll be getting a video on this, so you have different levels of brainwave patterns. Think of it as like frequencies of music. You've got low, slow music, and then it picks up a little bit, picks up a little bit more, picks up a little bit more, picks up a little bit more. Your brain is paced by light and sound. So we have meditation here as part of your Better Brain Academy. Janine teaches that because you can actually take it from a higher brain pattern and drop it down. That's when your body is like closing all the files of the day. If you're constantly thinking about all these things that are on your mind, that creates stress. That creates a fight or flight response. Fight or flight response is like you're having a battle. We should be up in that process when we're actually having to sustain good focused attention, but it should be calming down. That's affecting our sleep patterns. It's affecting our stress levels. If you're in constant fight or flight, your immune system is suppressed. Your immune system suppressed. When you sleep at night, certain cells in the brain called the glial cells do their housekeeping. They clean up all the debris of the day. If you're not sleeping properly, then your body, the brain biome, is actually more toxic. And we talked about cell toxicity, but you've got to look at your thinking processes too. So put meditation, relaxation, the breath work into your daily activities. 5 minutes to start with, 20, 30 minutes. I do it twice a day, at least 30 minutes. It is huge what it does to calm down your nervous system. So you actually get a healthier response. So the highest level, you got this gamma wave, and then you got this beta wave, and you got this alpha wave and delta wave. A baby is in a delta wave pattern the first few months of life. There's not a lot of activity. It's just the brain is functioning. So getting into that delta wave pattern allows you to sleep. How you do this is your left and right brain create different brain patterns. When you're in that focused and you're looking at logical things, analytical words and sounds, and doing all the activities of the day, your left brain is focusing. When you are in more of a relaxed state, your right brain, your creativity, your imagination, your emotions, and your experiences, when you're feeling that, is more right brain. As it comes down further down into the brain stem, that's when you get into your delta wave pattern and different parts of the inner part of the brain. We'll be sending you a video that talks about that, But what it does is you can control, just like the dial on a radio, you can turn up, change the channel just by learning some of these techniques. So make sure that you put meditation into your processes for your cognitive flexibility. It may be on your report that recommended because maybe your cognitive flexibility wasn't as good as it should be. The other process with this is your ability to do new things. So what I recommend is if you get into a habit pattern, you know what a rut is? It's a grave with both ends kicked out. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, eating the same foods, doing the same exact stuff, your brain is in a contracting state. You want to actually do new things. I like to take a different way to work, and I only live a half a mile from my office. I will take a different route. I like to go to some place, one route, and come back a different way, just so you have to be conscious. You can potentially drive to some place and be unconscious of what you're doing. So put new things into the day. Wake up at a different time. Do different things. Don't eat at the same thing each time. Try and put some flexibility in and see how it makes you feel. You want to make sure that you're adding new and interesting things to your reading, to your activities, to your exercise routine, to your nutrition. Try something new and don't get into a rut. It'll improve your cognitive flexibility. So these neurotransmitters are like creating a connection between the nerve cells. Here's what's most important. There are lots of different neurotransmitters, but your gut health, your gut makes about 90% or sends a message up for your brain to make 90% of your serotonin, which is a brain transmitter that's so important. If it is, your serotonin levels are off, that's what's leading 40 million people to be on some antidepressant. Now, there are a lot of things you can do. Increasing your cognitive flexibility and doing things differently, not doing the same thing over again, can help you get out of that depressed state. But if your gut health is not in a good order, then it will actually create these neurotransmitters. We're trying to create a process. We'll be talking about probiotics, meaning a certain type of probiotic foods, prebiotic foods that help support the gut bacteria. So these gut bacteria, the two things that are most important that are probably on your report are a thing called serotonin. That means a connection to create good synapses in the brain, to create more flexibility, keep your brain healthy. The other one is called GABA. It's GABA aminobutyric acid. There's a lot of abbreviations for these big words, but GABA actually helps suppress certain things in the body. So one speeds it up, one slows it down. We'll talk more on these later, but your gut health is so important to make sure that your brain health is in order. So if you look at gut health, there are certain foods that you can eat. For instance, I have a lot of patients that they, rather than going on antidepressants, they take a nutrient called 5-HTP. That's 5-hydroxytryptophan. Now that's a precursor for serotonin. It's not actually taking a medication, it's actually helping your body build better transmitters. Now if you're taking any type of medication, you always want to check with your doctor first before you supplement some of these things. But a lot of patients, if they are feeling off or depressed, I have them start this before they get on medications, and most of the time, for a certain period of time, they can improve their overall brain transmission. The other thing that might be on your test is called folate, or vitamin B12. So folate, it's not folic acid. You want to make sure that folate, it's a precursor to folic acid. Folate is often given to women during their pregnancy for early brain development and for the fetus. And a lot of times if we don't have a good nutritional supplementation, then we don't have enough of this folate. Folate and B12 help in the production of red blood cells. So red blood cells bring oxygen to the tissue. So if we summarize some of these things that we talked about, you got your cell wall. Things have to come into and out of the cell wall. Otherwise the cells become toxic. You've got to get oxygen in, blood sugar in, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, all these things into the cell, and certain things have to come out. So if your cell wall is not healthy, then these nutrients are not getting in and out. So you've got to start there. But then you have to do different action steps. Like I say, do different things throughout the day. Try and break old habits so you can actually stimulate the brain more. Our brain likes new information. Complex and interesting information stimulates the brain. Doing the same thing over and over again without activity creates a problem. So you want to make sure with your cognitive flexibility that you're looking at, number one, you want to make sure you get those brainwave patterns revved up throughout the day and then calming them down with your meditation. Number two, you want to look at the factors of your gut health. We'll be talking a lot more about the gut health and the gut biome, and then also you want to make sure that your these brain transmitters in certain types of foods, for instance, like chickpeas and beets. These are not things you normally eat, but they are very good for folate and B12. Cruciferous vegetables, which we talked about with the glutathione, those are also very important in making sure that you're getting enough of the neurotransmitters and the good gut health. So you want to make sure that you're making changes. Look at the videos. Look at the foods that you want to subtract something, add something to it, do something different. And we'll be talking more about your processing speed, how to improve your memory so that you can get a stronger, healthier brain as we go through this academy. I look forward to talking to you soon. Have an awesome rest of your day.